you have stakeholder consultations, you add S. But Mr. Speaker, I was quoting paragraph 6.2, if properly positioned, and it reads, the committee acknowledges ongoing processes to amend other provisions of the Constitution to give full effect to the proposed amendment. For instance, the committee knows that the bill to amend Article 55(3) of the Constitution is ready for a referendum in December 2019. And Mr. Speaker, this is my emphasis. Again, the state attorneys of the Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Justice informed the committee that processes have already initiated to further amend relevant clauses of Article 243 of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, it means narrow and limited initiative. Attorney General, it means you and the committee are agreeing that Article 2431, as been presented to this House now, is not exhaustive. It's inadequate, it's narrow, it's limited, and does not serve the purposes by your own committee report. And Mr. Speaker, the honorable member for Boku raised a critical issue of procedure, whether or not this parliament is clothed with a mandate and authority to begin the process of amendment of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, may I respectfully refer you to Article 11 of the 1992 Constitution to elucidate my point. And Mr. Speaker, Article 11, the laws of Ghana. Article 11 provides for those of us who have studied constitutional interpretation, and I know the Attorney General do as well, Mr. Speaker, the hierarchy of the laws. And therefore, the hierarchy of the laws is established in Article 11. It says the laws of Ghana shall comprise this Constitution, the Grundnorm. And Mr. Speaker, I dare add, you cannot use an act of parliament to amend the Constitution unless you follow the processes elaborated in Article 291 of the Constitution. So those seeking to seek amendment to Article 2431, Mr. Speaker, as I speak, before this House, Parliament, before the Council of State, we know of only one proposed amendment, Article 2431. Therefore, this House, in my view, have no mandate to proceed to 2432 and 2433. And Mr. Speaker, may I respectively quote Article 243 of the Constitution, and it provides, and I quote, Mr. Speaker, for our purposes, Article 243 provides, and I read, the office of District Chief Executive shall become vacant if a vote of no confidence supported by the votes of not less than 2/3 of all the members of the District Assembly is passed against him. It anticipated that he was brought in by elected assemblymen. Now he will be brought in by universal adult suffrage. You are amending only Article 2431 and you are silent on 2 and 3. Attorney General, this is a constitutional inadequacy we are pointing out to you. If you go further, Mr. Speaker, there was a brilliant article written by Ninsin and Professor Mike Okwe, Decentralization Without Political Parties. Ninsin, Mike Okwe. Go and read it. Professor Mike Okwe, at the time.
At that time,
Mr. Speaker, the honorable member for Boku Central, we also have raised the argument about Article 55, and we are being told that we should go out and force. Mr. Speaker, I heard the Honorable Minister for Railways, and let him be reminded that in Article 1 of this Constitution, sovereignty resides in the people. And therefore, there is nothing new that sovereignty resides in the people of Ghana, and is for them to whom you exercise any authority. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, if you come to Article 55(3), Mr. Speaker, it's not for nothing that the Constitution provides 2 walkways. If you are amending an entrenched provision, go to the people through a referendum. The referendum question has not been decided. So the question we will pose is, assuming you go to the referendum and it fails, what happens to this amendment that you are carrying out? Because sovereignty resides in the people. The people may decide otherwise. You cannot determine. So, Mr. Speaker, we on this side, our support to this amendment is conditional. Conditional to the fact that elect DCAs, but elect them on partisan lines. That is a principle we will support, and that is a principle we will work with. And Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, even as we seek amendment to Article 55.3, and Mr. Speaker, I want to read 55.3 against 248. And Mr. Speaker, this is what Article 253, Article 55.3 provides, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, 55.3 provides that, subject to the provision of this article, a political party is free to participate in shaping the political will of the people, to disseminate information on political ideas, social and economic programs of a national character, and sponsor candidates for election to any public office other than to district assembly election. Mr. Speaker, the pretense must end. All of us here know that clandestinely political parties support district assembly elections in Ghana. Clandestinely. It's provided in the Constitutional Review Report, and I can read portions of it for you. So, Mr. Speaker, two principles: amend the Constitution, allow for popular election of DCAs, but do it on the principle of partisanship. That we will support. Without that, Mr. Speaker, it may be difficult supporting. Mr. Speaker, let me show the Commission observed that one of the key institutional variations in local government in both the developing and the developed world is the issue of whether political parties have a place in local elections. So in resolving this question, Learned Attorney General, let's resolve the issue as a country, whether political parties have a role in local elections. In countries such as La Côte d'Ivoire, Kenya, Nigeria, Senegal, and South Africa, they work on the basis of partisanship. In other countries such as Canada, the provincial government, you may not have the same situation, even with Uganda. So, Mr. Speaker, we support the principle, and that is a major policy shift for our political party. And that is consistent with what the wishes of the Ghanaian people are. I dare add that we support the elective principle. We support that they be elected. We need to find answers to the winner take away all. But as was cautioned by the member for Boku Central, in some cultures and in some societies and in some parts of Ghana, you may not be able to manage issues of representation if other groups dominate the electoral process of the election of the DCA, and that can lead to political exclusion, and that can undermine the unity and cohesion of our country. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, we should take that in addition. Mr. Speaker, I've said that far-reaching recommendations were made in 1988 when PNDC Law 207 was passed. There were no political parties in Ghana, and therefore it did not benefit from this debate. Mr. Speaker, finally, let me conclude on Article 248. So, Learned Attorney General and the co-sponsors of this. 248 provides a candidate seeking election to a district assembly or any lower local government unit shall present himself to the electorate as an individual and shall not use any symbol associated with any political party. It goes further in 2482, a political party shall not endorse, sponsor, and as I have said, we do it clandestinely. We do, and we must accept it. So to cure it, let it be done on partisan basis. So, Mr. Speaker, let me remind my colleagues that this is not one amendment for which your majority is enough to walk away with. Be reminded. And Mr. Speaker, that is why I read Article 291 of the Constitution. I have also referred to the report of the committee, which says that amendments are already on the way to Article 243. That is not known to this House. That is not known to the Council of State. And we cannot proceed further when you have not come comprehensively to deal with Article 243, 2 and 3, Article 247, Article 248, and all the consequential amendment which is contingent on a referendum. Mr. Speaker, and Parliament must remind itself that the people of Ghana have some responsibility to determine the referendum question on Article 55(3). It's only fair and proper that we defer to the referendum question, or we add an additional question to the referendum. Which question will be that, do you want a partisan local government system? When will you get that? I say, add it to your referendum question. So, Mr. Speaker, we are proposing that an additional question at the referendum should not just be an amendment of Article 55(3). There should be an additional question whether the Ghanaian people accept election based on partisan lines or not. Because, Mr. Speaker, in the Constitutional Review report, a majority of Ghanaians were in favor, others were against the principle. So, Mr. Speaker, let me conclude by thanking you and thanking the Attorney General and say that we do not find the amendment to Article 2431 alone sufficient and adequate. It needs to be done comprehensively with other provisions of 243, and it must walk through the same elaborate constitutional process defined in Article 291 of the Constitution. And Mr. Speaker, let the Ghanaian people be told that nobody on this side or in the NDC is against the elective principle of MMDCs. What we have said is that further engage or consult, or we help you give a terminal keys to this proposed constitutional amendment by refusing not to go with you. It lies within our right. But we should be looking at deeper accountability. And Mr. Speaker, this will also help resolve the conflict between DCs and MPs. When they are your office, now they can also go and run for district chief executive, and that may minimize the conflict. So, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity, and I think that we have raised the main constitutional issues that needs the appropriate response of the Attorney General. I thank you.
Majority Leadership.
It's important that we address it. Mr. Speaker, colleagues on the other side have raised issues about some of the articles in our Constitution as to whether we are putting the cart before the horse or the horse before the cart, as the Minority Chief Whip alluded to. Mr. Speaker, if you amend Article 243(1), then the power has been given to the people to elect. Then you go further to amend at the referendum Article 55(3), then you are adding the introduction of partisanship into the election of the district chief executives. So we think that the sequence is to first introduce the elective principle, and then you add universal adult suffrage, then you go on to enable political parties to participate in the process by amending Article 55(3). Mr. Speaker, these articles or provisions in the Constitution, 243 in particular, clause 3, and Mr. Speaker, it reads, with your permission, I read, the office of the district chief executive shall become vacant if a vote of no confidence supported by the votes of not less than 2/3 of all the members of the district assembly is passed against him, or B, he is removed from office by the president, or C, he resigns or dies. Mr. Speaker, the committee has given indications that there are processes in motion to ensure that this provision and other provisions are amended subsequently. But, Mr. Speaker, if you amend Article 243(1) today, and you say you have introduced the elective principle, and you amend Article 243(3), what we must remember is that the tenure of office of all the chief executives will end sometime in 2021. If you amend this particular provision, what it means is that even if there is an errant chief executive, between now, if we pass the amendment today, between now until when their term ends, the president cannot touch them. The district assembly members can also not pass a vote of no confidence in them. That is why the amendment of such a provision must wait, because now they are the appointees of the president, and the president must reserve the power to terminate their appointment. If you take the power away from the president now, what it means is that between now and next, or about 2 years, when we elect the chief executive, then the president will be disabled to act when they do that. Mr. Speaker, we agree that Article 247, Article 246(2), Article 248 must all give way, but it cannot be immediate. It cannot be immediate for the reasons that I have given. Article 248 in particular seeks to proscribe political party participation in local government elections. You have another article which is entrenched. 248 is not entrenched. So you must first go after the entrenched provision and come back. Because if the entrenched provision that we are seeking to amend fails, God forbid, fails at the referendum, then what is the use of amending 248? No. So, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Leader, all these arguments have been made, so just do the lawyer's brief for me, please.
So, Mr. Speaker, for us, the sequence or the chronology is that we amend 243(1) first, we amend Article 55(3) to make it partisan, then all other prohibitive provisions in the Constitution subsequently follow. In that respect, Mr. Speaker, I support the motion. I'm most grateful.
Honourable members, there is no disagreement in principle. Once we agreed in principle, our responsibility as a group is to work together to ensure that what we agree in principle does happen. But we agreed that we will not put the question today in view of the finance minister coming to read the media review report. So I will defer the question. Yes, Honourable Majority Leader.
Speaker, I think you are right. At the pre-sitting meeting, we agreed that given what we have to do today and the fact that we may have to run this through a secret ballot, it will take quite a while to complete the process. And because we have to have the mid-year review of the budget, we stand the vote down and possibly do it tomorrow or the day after. But we have to have some some discussions amongst ourselves on the way forward. The Speaker, having said that, we will stand the votes down and then attend to the media review. Speaker, thank you very much.
Very well. Question on the motion numbered 8, deferred. Yes, Honourable Majority Leader. What next?